Hi, it's Marissa from bumblebeeapothecary.com, and today I'd like to show you how to make some really easy and delicious and healthy sourdough crepes. Making sourdough crepes is one of my favorite ways to use up extra sourdough starter, like when you're feeding your sourdough starter and you have to discard some. It's a great way to use up that sourdough starter that normally would just go to waste. So let's jump right into the recipe, and I'm going to show you how to make these, and then I'll talk some more about some other tips and things to know. The measurements for this recipe can be pretty flexible depending on how much sourdough starter you're discarding and how thick your sourdough starter is, so I'll walk through all of that. I'm going to start by whisking 3 eggs in my mixing bowl. A fork is my favorite thing to whisk eggs with. Leave me a comment and let me know if you like to use a fork or a whisk for eggs. Next, I'm going to add about 1 cup of sourdough starter. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of melted butter. What I like to do is have some butter melting ahead of time as I'm starting to make these in my cast iron skillet, and then I'll be able to pour off some of that into my mixing bowl. So eyeballing around 2 tablespoons. And then that leaves my cast iron skillet with the perfect amount of butter to start cooking these. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, about a pinch or 2. I'll have all these exact written measurements down in a printable recipe card linked in the description box below, so if you want that, you'll be able to grab that. Next, I'm going to whisk everything together a bit and just see what consistency the batter is starting to look like. For crepes, you want a pretty thin batter, different from pancakes where you want it thicker. So we're going to add a little bit of milk to thin the batter. Usually plan on adding about 1/4 cup of milk, but you can just kind of see how much you need depending on how thick your sourdough starter is. And then we're just going to whisk all of that together. Meanwhile, the cast iron skillet is heating over about medium heat. Sometimes I'll start off on medium high and then bring it down to medium. And then we're gonna start by ladling our batter right in the middle of the skillet. For this size little ladle, I'm going to add, I think, 2 scoops, maybe, let's do 3. The amount of batter that you use at any time is gonna depend on how big your skillet is and how big you want your finished crepes to be. And then you're going to just move the pan around a little bit and let the batter pour all the way to the edges of the skillet so that it covers the whole surface of the bottom of the skillet. Then as it's cooking, we're just looking for the edges to start to pull away from the edge of the pan, and then we'll know that it's time to flip it. All right, it's looking pretty good. So now it's time to go ahead and flip it. There we go, and then we just let it cook for another minute or 2 until it's cooked all the way through. All right, and then once it's cooked all the way through, it's time to go ahead and remove it from the pan. And there it is, all ready to go. We like to eat these with homemade yogurt or yogurt cheese, which is just the yogurt that has the whey strained out of it, so it's thicker inside for the filling, rolled up, and then with homemade berry syrup on the top. Really delicious. There's also lots of different other flavor variations and filling ideas that you can do. I'll have a blog post with this same recipe linked down below where I go into lots more variation ideas. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing how easy it is to make your own crepes at home from sourdough starter. I hope that you give it a try. If you do, tag me on Instagram at Bumblebee Apothecary, and I'd love to see how yours turned out. This is a really great way to use up the extra sourdough discard. Some people like these better than pancakes for using up sourdough discard. They like the texture better. In any case, it's a really easy thing to make for breakfast, really delicious, great for kids, and you get to enjoy all those benefits of properly prepared fermented grains in a delicious crepe. This can be a really great way to use up extra eggs if you have a lot of eggs sitting around. It's also a really good way if you want to eat more eggs, but you're kind of tired of all the ways of cooking eggs on their own. You can add more than 3 eggs to the batter and they turn out great. I have lots of other sourdough recipe videos on my channel, including how to make your own sourdough starter from scratch. I'll have some of those linked below, so be sure and check those out. And also leave me a comment down below and let me know, when you eat crepes, what is your favorite thing to eat inside them and on them? I'll have links below in the description box to where I like to buy flour for feeding my sourdough starter and making other kinds of baked goods. Is also a great place to buy lots of other groceries and pantry staple items. Also check out that description box for that printable recipe card like I said before, as well as links to free ebooks and other goodies. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else you think would like to know how to make their own sourdough crepes. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.